Well, I am excited. I'm very excited to introduce today James Hopper. It's hard for me to say James. It's kind of like my name is Jim, and my real name is James. I
Mm.
always kind of look around when people call me that. But James Hopper, or I know you as Jamie,
Yes, sir.
and he's with Money Concepts. So we're just wanting to introduce Jamie today, Money Concepts today, what you guys do. So I'm going to kind of start in that whole process. Jamie, why don't you tell me a little bit about Money Concepts?
Absolutely. Money Concepts is a financial planning broker dealer that's been around since 1979. And Jim Walsh and a couple of his friends decided that they wanted to do things differently. Because in the past, as a client, you had to go do everything by yourself. You had to go out and find your own accountants, your own bankers, your own insurance, everything you had to do on your own. And they said, what if we could put ourselves in the middle of a financial planning situation for somebody and kind of work as their advocate and be able to handle those things for them. So we don't do the accounting, we don't do the insurance, we don't do the attorney work, but what we do is we work directly with your professionals and help you with all of those things. And that's one opportunity that Jim Walsh was really excited about. So Money Concepts was one of the first companies back in 1979 to really do the fee-based planning and offer those services for you. Because what we find is a lot of people are really good at what they do, and then they really stress out about doing all the other things. And we're like, look, we'll handle this for you, and we'll make sure that's taken care of. And you go be good at what you're good at and have more time with your business, more time with your kids, more time with your life, and let us take care of that for you. And it's been a really successful opportunity for us. What it really does for me is it allows me to be completely independent and run the business the way I want to. So we've got Money Concepts offices all around the country, and we all run our businesses a little bit differently. And we all have our own ideas for the way things should be done. But what I like to say is I'm independent, but I'm not by myself. And that means I've got a great insurance team that I work with. I've great investment team that I work with. And when we sit down with our clients, one of the things that really makes us different is we don't have any proprietary products. So I don't have an agenda. I don't have anything that I'm trying to sell to you. I want to learn about you. I want to learn about your family. I want to learn about your occupation, your bucket lists. I want to learn about all the things that are important to you first and have that conversation. And then after I get to know you and your family, that's when we're really going to start talking about your money. Because what I like to say is, we know ultimately money is what we're working with, but that's just the tool that we use to help you accomplish all your goals. And after I've got all the information about your life and your goals, then we'll start talking through your money and create a plan specifically for you and your situation based off what you need and not what you need to sell. As an independent representative, I'm representing you and not any financial companies. I don't have anybody tapping me on the shoulder and saying, hey, Jamie, you didn't sell enough life insurance this month, or you didn't sell this type of mutual fund or this type of annuity. I do what's best for my clients, no matter what I've done with anybody else. And I really think that makes us different in a lot of ways.
Excellent. Well, now how did your journey bring you to Money Concepts? How did you get into this industry? Or first of all, how did you get in the industry, and then how did you find Money Concepts, I guess?
It actually all kind of happened at the same time. My wife and I are really big into our faith, and that's a part of my business. And I tell people all the time that I'll work with anybody. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what your faith is, what your religion is. None of that's important to me. But what I do is all based off my faith. And I really think that God led me into this industry and God led me into this business. I was actually a stay-at-home dad for a long time, and I was home with my kids, and then I would work part-time in restaurants and do different things. Actually, I told you that's where I met Elaine and Mike at a long time ago.
Right.
Um, and I did that for a long time. But as we had our second child, I was already getting the itch to go back out and work full time. But I wanted to be home with him. I wanted to build that relationship with him. And as he got closer to kindergarten, I started to take all kinds of personality quizzes and take tests to figure out what I wanted to do next. And I wasn't sure yet. And my wife and I changed churches. And one of the first things we did was join a financial peace group in our church. And we actually led the group with Dave Ramsey. And the second time we did it, we brought some friends through. And my friend was like, Jamie, you're really good at this. Have you thought about being a financial advisor? And I was already leaning that direction. I just wasn't sure which path in the industry I wanted to go. And one of the things that held me back was because I had been home for so long, I wasn't sure about the interview process. I wasn't sure about my resume and all those things. And I had a long conversation with a guy at one of the big companies that everybody knows. And he was really good to me. And he offered to start me through their interview process. And I said, let me talk to my wife. Let's talk about this a little bit. And in the meantime, I ran into a gentleman that I'd known for about 10 years, and I asked him to pray for me. And I said, hey, I want to make a career change. And he said, well, what do you want to do? And I said, I'd like to be a financial advisor. And he got this crazy look in his eye. And he said, well, that's what I do. And I started laughing. I was like, I've known you 10 years and we never talked about that. And he and I started talking. He was with Money Concepts and we had some discussions. He showed me what made Money Concepts different. And he introduced me to the directors of the region that we're in. And I knew this is exactly where I wanted to be. And I really feel like God put that together for us because we'd known each other the whole time. And all of a sudden, when the time came, we were right there for each
I think we froze here for a second. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. We just had a quick freeze. Anyway, so well, one of the things that here at Life's Co-Pilot we do a lot with basically with seniors and their families, because quite frankly it's a family affair through that whole process. What moved your Money Concepts more because I know you do a lot of stuff with the senior community, so what I know of course that once you get into the senior community you could also be taking care of their kids and their grandkids, but so how did that work for you?
Absolutely. It's kind of funny because when I first got started, especially with my Dave Ramsey background, I had a big interest in helping young people get their affairs in order and not make the same mistakes that we did. And I absolutely still do. But what I noticed is we're leading the Dave Ramsey classes, the couples that were impacted the most were the people that were in their 60s and early 70s that had never had their financial affairs in order. And to see the change that they went through, not only in their finances, but in their marriages by having things in order really got me interested in that. And that was very impactful. And, I tell people all the time, what we see with seniors, the three things that they're most interested in, they want to have a dependable retirement income. They want to make sure their nest egg is protected and they want to have money to leave to their kids. And that's pretty true across the board. And I even tell young people as we're setting up their financial plan, when you get older, this is what you're going to be shooting for. So why don't we start with that same structure now and help you build things up with that in mind in the future? So it helps even when I work with the young people. But the thing that really pushed me across the edge was when I started to learn about the long-term care insurance opportunities that were out there. And I saw that other people in my position weren't offering it. The reason that's important to me is because I lost my mom 17 years ago this week. And all of a sudden I had this light bulb moment one day that if my parents would have had access to long-term care services, it's possible that my mom would have lived a lot longer than what she did. And even if she didn't, her quality of life would have been significantly better. And my dad would not have had 3 heart attacks trying to take care of her. And I wanted to make sure that other people don't go through what we went through. And our church pastor tells us all the time that we don't go through anything by accident. We go through things so we can help pull other people through them later. And in my eyes, this was the same thing. And about that same time, as I was having this discovery, one of the companies did a presentation in our office and really talked about how things had changed in that long-term care insurance industry and how much better things were than they've ever been before. And they talked about how now the premiums are guaranteed as to before they were not. And now if you don't use it, it comes with a death benefit. And it occurred to me as I was talking to those guys that there was no reason why somebody should not have access to this. So part of the reason that I've gotten to know you and I'm so passionate about this industry is because I do things a little differently. Yes, my company, my office, we do very well with helping people with their retirement money. We do very well with helping them with their retirement income planning. We do all those things. But people in my industry aren't talking about long-term care insurance because the products in the past were so bad that they would sell it to their clients. They would get mad about it when the price would go up and they would cancel it and lose everything they put into it. So financial advisors, elder law attorneys, they just quit offering it. And now it's at a point where things are different. People need to know about it. So when I go into different meetings and presentations, I tend to lead with that first because nobody else is talking about it. And what I find for me is it opens up more opportunities, because I'm able then, if we do their long-term care insurance, to start talking about their estate plan. And I built up a tremendous network and getting to know you and all the awesome attorneys we have on this platform and in our area. And I'm able to say, hey, do you have your estate plan in place? And as we have that conversation, then it opens up the door to their assets. And a lot of times that I'm able to help work with their assets. Whereas if I would have gone in and offered them a free steak dinner and said, hey, if you've got more than $250,000, I'd like to work with you. I think that's garbage. I don't do that. I start the conversation the other way and work it backwards, and it benefits our clients. It helps builds trust, and then ultimately it helps me too.
Outstanding. Well, I will tell you, I was doing a little reading up on you before. We know each other, we run into each other everywhere, but I just went into your LinkedIn page, just kind of look things up, and I saw you were Kelly School of Business from IU, and I lost track of how many licensings that I saw that were coming up there. It's quite a cluster. So you've obviously spent some time in the classroom to get to get all that stuff behind you as far as that goes. So
That is true.
yeah.
But,
Well, so I was going to say you're obviously educated in this world. So, and then of course, the Dave Ramsey stuff as well. I also know, some stuff about, I want to talk about Jamie for a minute. So tell me, married, kids, tell me what your life is. Who are you?
you know what? I appreciate you asking that. I am so blessed. I met my wife 25 years ago. Well, I actually met her longer than that. I was a senior in high school, and she was quite a bit younger. And we got to be really good friends over the years. And about 25 years ago, we decided that we wanted to be together. And just last June 3rd, we had our 20th wedding anniversary. And we had plans to go on a big grand trip, and COVID changed all that. So hopefully that'll come up in the next year or two. We'll be able to do that. And I'm so blessed that she's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And in a lot of ways, I like to say she saved my life and she's made my life. And she's amazing. She's a librarian in one of the schools here in Hamilton Southeastern, and she's just the nicest person you've ever met in your life. And she is so good for me and for my kids. We are blessed to have two kids. Our daughter is 11, and our son just turned 9, and they could not be more different. Our daughter's into theater and talking to her friends all the time, and just she's creative, but she's into performing. And I swear she's a teenager already. Our son is unbelievable. He's got an engineer's mind. He's into building and creating that way. He likes anything Lego or creative, origami. We've unfortunately, got paper all over the house because he likes to fold things and fly things and throw things. And now he can't do it outside as much because it's cold. But we're just blessed to have two kids that we love, and hopefully they'll get back to school here pretty soon and make things happen. But yeah, it's just I'm really blessed.
Well, very good. So now I see that and you've talked about this before, that you're a fundraiser volunteer for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation as well. So that's something I know that you've brought up several times when I've seen you. So I know that's a passion of yours.
Yeah, it's something I'm actually really passionate about. I got diagnosed with Crohn's disease in 2014, and it's not something that a lot of people talk about, because it's got to do with bathroom issues, and that's not the kind of thing you bring up at a party or during dinner or during a lunch conversation. But because of that, I've made it very important in my life to make sure that I have that conversation, because Crohn's is something that people tend to keep to themselves, and it can flare up because of stress or other issues. And when people keep things to themselves, then they get more stressed and it just snowballs and makes things worse. And what we found is with the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, there are about 70,000 patients here in Indiana, but only about 300 of us have a relationship with the foundation, which means that a lot of people are doing things on their own and don't have access to the resources that could help them navigate things better. And I want to make sure that I do my part to help fundraise. They're doing so many great things. They've got support groups, they've got educational opportunities. They're really big on research. Indianapolis actually has one of the biggest research warehouses in the entire world. out by the airport. And they've got an opportunity to have samples located there, and researchers from all over the world have access to these samples. And now, instead of companies fighting with each other trying to come up with a cure first, they're all working together, and they really think that cure is coming soon. And it's near and dear to my heart. The ladies that run that foundation here in town are just phenomenal. And I had a conversation with them one day, and I knew that's when I first started talking to them, I wanted to be a help to somebody else, because I know that I've got a supportive wife. I know that we've got an amazing church. I know that I'm going to be okay, but I know other people aren't. And within about 5 minutes of me talking to Brandy on the phone, I realized that I was going to be in it for me too. And it was going to change my life. And it really has. And that's something that I'm really passionate about.
Well, that's very exciting. Well, I will tell you, man, I'll tell you what, I love this conversation. I think people got to know you better. One thing I saw that also, now I was not the least bit surprised to see that you won an award as the Networker of the Year in 2019. I don't remember which organization it was, but that seems very much up your alley. One of the best networkers I've run across. So, because of this, if people are listening to this video, how do they get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me now is through my email, jhopper@moneyconcepts.com, or with my phone number, 317-439-4320. Jim and I actually talked before we started. I'm going to have the opportunity in 2021 to open my own Money Concepts financial planning office. And I'm so excited about that. That's something that's been in the works for about 3 years. And I'm getting my opportunity now. Because of COVID, it's going to be a while before I have my own physical location, because there's just really not a need for it right now. We're doing all of our meetings on Zoom anyway. We do work with electronic signatures and other things. And if I really need somebody's wet signature, I'll just drive to their house and get it. And we do it out on the front porch with masks on, and life is good. So that is changing. So I won't have a physical address here for a while, but nothing is changing in my business. I've still got the same amazing investment team that I work with, the same insurance team. The only difference is, instead of having an office, I'm going to be in my home office for a while. And I'm really excited about that. And hopefully school will start back up, and I'll be home in this quiet space by myself all the time.
Hey, that's great. Thank you for the visit.